The Washington Post reported that Pete Hegseth ran around the Situation Room yelling, "Kill them all." The New York Times comes out and says, well, apparently that's not true. Hegseth wasn't even around when the second strike was ordered. Admiral Bradley made that order, so the New York Times contradicts Washington Post. It's all, here's the thing you need to remember about all this. It's all not in good faith. It's not genuine. It's not sincere. Barack Obama launched literally thousands of missiles. Okay, yes, under the AUMF, but the AUMF, like theoretically, authorization for use of military force, was Iraq and Afghanistan. My man was dropping missiles in Oman and Yemen, killing an American citizen in Yemen. And there wasn't the same type of outrage, okay? The point is, it's really about TDS. It's about getting President Trump. And there's been no bigger proxy for getting President Trump than getting Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. And they have gone after him on this narco strike. And here's what he said yesterday at that cabinet meeting in response.
We're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike? You personally?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters.
We were to be joined by Joey Jones, a true warfighter, but as is the case often, and understandably, Joey's trapped in hunting camp. Joey's trapped in hunting camp with a poor connection and couldn't join us this morning. We're going to try to make it happen. We don't care where you come from hunting camp, come from the car. We don't care. But you got to have a connection. We've interviewed Senator John Kennedy from the car, and we'll interview you, the Willisha. Just FaceTime in. Let's figure that out. Let's get the Willisha into Will Cain Country with FaceTime. Just don't come in naked.
Could be dangerous.
Don't flash your junk, but we want you in the show. I know it's dangerous two-a-days, but I want it. You know, had a dinner last night with a guy. He said, I need that back. I need you talking with the audience, debating. I need that back. And I said, you know what? I need that back as well. And on radio, that's call in. On digital, that's FaceTime. We're going to make that happen, right? That's what we're going to do. So whatever the connection, wherever you come from, you're part of Will Cain Country. Would have had that today, but we didn't have the technical connection with a true warfighter, Joey Jones. But I've sat next to, on the couch, and been friends with the man you just heard from for a long time, the Secretary of War. And I have learned over time, because I did not serve in the United States military, a lot about what he's talking about right here. I'm also capable of critical thought. When you sit at a distance, when you read about war, it can all become legalistic. You can become your own mini version of a JAG officer. And in the worst case scenarios, you become a journalist. And you sit there and you armchair quarterback. And you bring up the Geneva Convention as though that's a real thing. And you bring up this legalistic maneuver, that. And it's not to say, you know, we can't be above certain practices in war. Nobody's proud of the My Lai massacre in Vietnam. It's not to say there aren't bad things that are done. But that, by its very nature, is the definition of war. Bad things done for a greater purpose. You rigorously debate. You collectively decide if your purpose is great. But once you pursue that purpose, you're far beyond the bounds of a JAG lawyer. You're far beyond the bounds of a journalist. You're far beyond the bounds of an armchair quarterback. You execute your mission with, in the case of a military, lethality. In case of you or me, you execute your mission with clarity and with purpose. And fog of war is a real thing. And I do over time, and I've come to appreciate this even more as somebody who wasn't personally involved in this. How dare we, and I'm using a royal we, okay, sit here having never even been in the situation, much less in the situation now in the moment, and go, oh, you did this right, you did this wrong. That seemed unnecessarily cruel. What do you do when the bullets are flying? What do you do when your life is in danger? What do you do when the adrenaline is flowing? What do? You hold fast to the clarity and the purpose of the mission. That's what you do. And it's not a pass. It's not a get out of jail free card for every single decision that's ever made. But when your mission now, Washington Post, is to take down President Donald Trump, is to give in to your TDS, is to go after Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. And that's clearly the mission. It's not the sincerity of ethics or morality or war. That's very clear. Where were you during the missiles raining during President Barack Obama? So when you hold fast to your mission to take down the sitting president of the United States and his Secretary of War, we're allowed to judge, in this case, with no fog of war, exactly who you are and exactly what you're here to do. These men make decisions in the moment, some right, some wrong, hopefully always with the clarity of purpose. But if we allow you to dictate the terms of war, well, that's how you write a recipe for 50 years of losing wars. That's how you get Vietnam. That's how you get Afghanistan. That's how you get the most powerful and greatest military on the face of the earth somehow not running an undefeated record. And by the way, we should be running away with each one of these wars. Quick, fast, decisive, done. America. But the Washington Post armchair quarterbacks every decision made to ensure that every war drags out the longest possible with the maximum number of attrition and defeat being the likeliest of outcomes. Yeah, I believe fog of war. Yeah, I believe how that was said exactly by the Secretary of War.